All right, and this question is to Dr. Seth and Dr. Carter. Can you talk a little bit about the history of racism in America in particular?
I guess in its broadest sense, we have to talk about kind of legacy of colonization and the ways in which you have, white colonists come to America, and essentially for about the last 600 years, you have starting with the genocide of indigenous folks, through the enslavement of black people, Jim and Jane Crow, but in the midst of all those things happening, one might argue, and we would suggest that racism in this sense is kind of in the DNA of our country, right? That it really kind of is embedded in the structure and representation of America in profound ways that has had lasting impacts. And again, this isn't just for black people. I mean, this would be for Asians who experienced exclusion with different kind of acts in the past, or again, indigenous folks who still continue to feel the exclusion of people occupying unceded land from a territorial perspective. So from a longitudinal way, I would say we're still living in the legacies, right, of racism and of Jim Crow and of slavery and of genocide, the indigenous genocide in that kind of sense. I think it really is a part of what has made America America.
And I think for white people, that the question is, how do we embody those structures? So there are these large structures at play, but they manifest in us in some way. And they filter our perception of the world in ways that we don't even recognize. So we see the world through a white frame, and that shapes how we see people, how we see opportunities, how we see the possibility for relationship through a white lens that fundamentally dehumanizes people of color. And so what does the world look like when you're seeing it that way, right? It's really dehumanizing, but we don't even know that because it's something that's so large structurally that we're born into it, and so it's perpetuates itself. And so unless we have friends who can see this, like Chris, it's hard to escape that. It's hard to get out of that.